Welcome, everybody, to the One to Go Show, presented once again by our friends at Weir's Machine. We've talked about Weir's Machine here for about a month. Your 4-link suspension and 2-link suspension, headquarters, spring cups, steel bearing suspension cages, wheel spacers, pinion mounts, carpet. They got it all. And my favorite, the cornhole counter, which is kind of a, when you guys are playing cornhole, you don't need to fight about the score anymore, and you don't need to reach down for your beer because it's got a handy beer holder. So Weir's Machine, WEHRS Machine. Go ahead, Ryan.
I'm a little bit disappointed with Weir's. Really, I am, because some of the stuff that they've really brought to the table over the last several years here would have made my life so much easier. Chad, you were late to the game, buddy. Where was the Spring Smasher back when I was scaling my car 80 times a year, right? Where was the tire cipher machines when I had that black cordless or the heated one that you heat up? Life is so much easier now. It's not even fair. These young guys, Weir's Machine is making it far too easy for some of these guys. So I don't know.
Yeah, thank Chad. When you guys get hold of him, blow him up right now. You can, like I said, weirsmachine.com or give him a call, 608-486-4343. Tell him Ryan Aho from the One to Go Show sent you. And like I said, I am Puka, once again joined by the Ryan Aho and the Bert Lehman. Welcome, fellas. Coming off another weekend of specials, and more specials. Bert, it looks like you were going to say something.
No.
Okay. All right. Then we're going to get into it with you. Because I know
saving my words.
Yeah, you had your eye on this prize. So the IMCA Super Nationals at Boone took place, and that's where we're going to start tonight. So fire away, Bert.
Well, I know IMCA drivers in eastern Wisconsin, a lot of them look forward to go to Boone every year. And this year, Boone was kind of a cluster. Unfortunately, when you have a week-long event, even if it's a one-day event, you have to depend on good weather. And when it's a week-long event, then you really need some good weather. And needless to say, they did not have good weather down there. So you can't blame IMCA for that. You can't blame the Boone track for that. It was just bad weather. Unfortunately, and I felt bad for the drivers. I think it was on Thursday. They were racing in the rain. They were actually racing on a track that was probably like an inch of slime, maybe even more than an inch of slime, and it was raining out. And the drivers deserve better. And you spend the money to go to that big event, and then you have to race in the rain. It's hard enough to qualify for that event, and then to have to race on slop and in the rain. I understand, but it just felt like they were racing just to get the races in because they can't cancel it. So that's my little rant on that. I just want to give a quick update, and I have to thank Bill Schmidt for for finding this information out. He runs WI Dirt Racing with no G.com. So it's WIDRTRACIN. He kept track of all the Wisconsin drivers and how they did down there. But there were 5 Wisconsin drivers racing in the sport mod division, 10 modified drivers, and 15 stock car drivers. Jared Seifert, we've talked about him a few times. He's a late model driver from eastern Wisconsin. He was racing in the stock car division, and he qualified for the big show in the stock car division. He started 18th in his qualifying feature and won to qualify for the main event. Started on the outside pole. Led all of the laps until there was 2 laps to go, and they had a restart. And the second place car made contact with him in the corner and got him sideways a little bit. He kind of straightened it out, and then on the backstretch they got together again, and everybody went spinning at that point. And, unfortunately, he wound up finishing 10th. He didn't finish the race, but he did finish 10th, which, you have a feature, there's like 30 cars in it and only 9 finished. So that tells you something about what happened there. But Jesse Sobbings was the driver that made contact with them. And I spent part of last night going over Jesse Sobbings' Facebook racing page, and you want to see a difference of opinions as to what happened. He claims that he was taken out by the leader, which is kind of difficult when you're the second place car and you get taken out by the leader. But he was he claims he was taken out by the leader, and then somebody from his team posted that Jared didn't leave him a lane on the back stretch, and that's why they spun out on the back stretch. But I mean, I don't think Sabines did anything intentional. I mean, they're going for, he was trying to win, but I mean, he stuffed it in there. Ryan's going, maybe not, but I mean, he stuffed it in there. Well, there was a restart like a lap before, and I guess Jared did drift up a little bit, and Sabines took the lead, but then the caution came out. So Jared got his spot back. So I think Sabines was trying to do that same move, but Jared wasn't moving off the bottom this time, and Sabines, pushed the issue. So, unfortunately, it would have been a great victory for Jared if he would have won it. And if you guys are looking for a race car, that car is for sale, $18,000.
Ryan is.
Minus seats and drivetrain. So, I guess I'd like to hear Ryan's opinion on the incident.
Well, let's just put it this way. Seifert's car didn't automatically go in reverse in middle of the back straightaway. Okay, we'll start there. He didn't put it in reverse and back into the guy. Now, also Sabing, when he clipped him, his car turned hard right in a quick hurry in the middle of, so he spun out to the right. Now, if a guy's in the front of you pinching you down, I'm sorry, you're not going to spin to the right unless you're turned to the right, turning into the guy, trying to loosen him up or whatever he was trying to do. And when they finally broke loose, Sabing went running up the racetrack. That's what I saw. Did Seifert leave the door open? Probably a little bit, but it also looked to me like Sabing was driving over the tires to get inside of them. I'm not saying I've never done that. I've done that many, many times, right? But the fact is, it's a racing deal. Both the guys were racing hard. Long week. I mean, they had a long week there. Unfortunate situation. It was exciting for the fans. Puka would have been really, really impressed. Long. He likes them 20-hour race programs. Guys, they started racing that one day. Wasn't that like 9 a.m. or something?
Yep.
And it said drop cutoff was like before 8. I'm
7:30 a.m. was draw cutoff.
Yeah, I'm like, I would have missed that one. That wouldn't have worked for me. I would have had to stay up from the night before to make that happen. There's just no way. And so they went, I think the one night they were racing till like 3, 4 a.m., so I mean, it was craziness with that many cars. And like you said, I mean, I guess one word for the Boone Super Nationals, 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what, I mean, if it can go wrong, it did go wrong. But I'll let you touch a little bit more. But that's what I saw in that deal. If I had to put blame on somebody, I would have blamed the second place guy. He would have been to the back. Did Seifert get a flat there or something, or why did he
Yeah, I guess Seifert did give him his spot back, but he had a tire going down, and then he had to retire from the race.
Yeah, that one only cost him $1,000 or so. I mean, there are people this week that lost a whole lot more money with a.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that one a little bit later on.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that Jeremy Christians, he's also from Wisconsin. He also made the big show in the stock car division. He wound up finishing 24th. But the other thing I wanted to say about the IMSA Nationals, and particularly about is they need to put something around those light poles in the infield. I cannot believe that a track of that stature does not have protection around the light pole. Those light poles are only like 10 minutes or 10 feet away from the racing surface. Right. And what happened was a car got spun out and slid into the light pole. Luckily, it was passenger side to the light pole and basically bent that car into a U. And then to top it off, the lights fell off the pole on top of the car.
Can you get that clip in here, Ryan? I know we found one on the internet. Are you be able to? Okay, so that is great. And, if you watch that, when you're watching that clip, folks, right now, look at that cameraman. How close? I mean, if that pole's not there, that cameraman is dead. I mean, it's, and he's so into filming. At first, he's leaning forward. Like, holy cow, look at this. And all of a sudden he realizes, like, if that pole doesn't stop him or that pole falls, and then you see him kind of like, whoa, he kind of tries to skate away a little bit. But, yeah, just insane safety infraction.
Well, two things on that. First of all, Bert, do you see where the flagman stands at Boone?
No, I didn't notice.
The flagman, so they got the wall, and they got the fence, right, on the front straightaway. The flag stand is wall height on the track side of the fence. So, like, literally, the sail panels and stuff are, like, right at the even level with the flagman. It's crazy. How that flagman doesn't get killed is just insane. But also in Pennsylvania this weekend, I don't know if you guys saw that on Facebook or not, there was another light pole incident in Pennsylvania. I don't remember what class it was, but a car hit a light pole there, and actually two people got hurt. One was a photographer, the other, and it was a father-son, the photographer and the corner guy. The corner guy got life flighted out of there. Turns out he's okay. I mean, lots of injuries and stuff. He's gonna make it though. But two light pole incidents in the same weekend. So, you know what else was crazy, Bert? How about that fuel cell? Did you see that?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I sent you the text. I said, "How does a fuel cell come loose in a race car?" I mean, I feel bad for the driver because the fuel cell actually came out, bounced around, and got stuck in the window area of a car following it. And that car is the one that took the brunt of the damage because it started on fire.
Yeah, you could see that guy was skimming. He knew right away. He slowed down gingerly, and he knew that as soon as that hit that was hot manifolds, that was going up, which it did. That was scary.
Now to answer your question on that, here's why fuel cells come out. Because the rule is 2-inch by 1/8-inch scrap, okay? And there's different grades of steel that people use. And I've had race cars where the fuel cell straps that go around the fuel cell, I've looked at the car and all of a sudden they're cracked, multiple ones. Like the fuel cell was literally ready to come out of the car. And you see most late models and modifieds now, they're not using 2 by 1/8-inch strap. Most of them are using, 1x1 box tube. They're using square tubing, so it's actually in a cage, which is a whole lot safer. But I don't know what his was made out of. All I know is the thing came out. For all I know, maybe it was a good cage that came unbolted. I have absolutely no idea. But that could have been really. It was already bad, but it could have been really bad. Thankfully, in all them incidents, it looks like everybody was okay. So that's a plus all by itself.
Awesome. All right. Anything else on the Super now? They race all day because it's not just the Nationals, it's the Super Nationals, fellas. That's when the draw's at 8 a.m., it is a super race, all right?
The only thing I got is 20RT made history. He made history. First guy in the history of the Super Nationals to win 2 features in the same year. He won the IMCA late models. He won the IMCA modifieds. That's 4 on the year or 4 in his career, Super National A-main wins for Ricky Thornton Jr. So all in all, it sounds like a whole lot of people had a lot of fun. They were happy to be there, but they were really happy to go home. They might sleep all day.
Well, plus Thornton was running second for a good portion of the stock car feature also.
What happened there? I didn't see how it did.
I don't know what happened, but he pulled off the track at one point.
Right.
I'm not sure what happened.
Right. Yeah, that was a full week of racing. Puka, that would not be your cup of tea. You like that 3-hour window? You like that? Get there, get it done. That is not Boone. That is not Boone.
I'm staying away from Iowa. All right. Well, we will move just north of Iowa to Wisconsin, where MTS had their modified nationals, Ryan.
Yeah, 3-day event. And if we're going to talk later in the year, we're going to have some awards going out, driver of the year, track of the year, different things like that. Guys, Mississippi Thunder Speedway is definitely in the conversation for our area because it's too hard to go nationwide. We can kind of go our region, but the Mississippi Thunder Speedway is definitely on the radar for track of the year in our area. They've had big event after big event after big event. Well, they had a deal. It was going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, $2,000 to win for Midwest Mods and A Mods on Thursday, $4,000 on Friday, and $10,000 to win for each of them on Saturday. Well, first of all, the car counts were a little bit light. Midwest Mods is pretty good, but I think they were around 35 or so of the A Mods. And of course, 2020, right? Mother Nature just cannot cooperate and just make life easy for anybody. So they got the Thursday race in, and it looked like rain. It looked terrible. And they were actually going to cancel the Friday show. They get to the track, and Bob Tim talks to some drivers, and they said, well, here's the deal. I mean, we're supposed to start at 7, or I think it was 7. Let's go ahead and let's start this early. Maybe we'll just race at 3 today. But if we race at 3, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to chop the purse, and they did. But it was still good. I mean, it was $2,000 to win for each of them. And they said it at the pit meeting, and they said, we'll give you your entry fees back if you don't want to race. And then they chopped it a little bit for Saturday. Instead of $10,000 to win, it was $7,500 to win for each. Well, let's be honest. I think there's only one mod race over $7,500 to win all year, right? So it's still good pay. But they got crucified by a handful of people on Facebook. Oh, they chopped the purse. It's like, where else are you racing for that kind of money? People just bitch all the time. It drives me nuts. These guys have just stuck their necks out, and he's a racer. I mean, he's a racer's promoter. I think Tyrone's technically the promoter there, but, the fact is, drivers, shut up. Really? Shut up. I mean, I know for certain that they lost money at that event. The place was empty. There was nobody there. The grandstands, it was like a ghost town. It's like I literally the weather, but there was so much else, so much going on, right? So people were up at the sites. People were up at the Northern Nationals, right up the road. SK Speedway had their event going on. So there's stuff all over the place. And just looking at that, it's like, man, and then the weather played in. So when I looked at it online, I'm like, are they like fanless here? Or like what? I mean, it was that bad. There could have been a couple hundred people there on Thursday night.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was bad. I mean, you think about the purse that they paid, a $10,000 to win purse. I think it was $500 or $600 to start the feature, right? So you're talking, a World of Outlaw late model purse, which is a pile of money times 2, because they paid that for the mods and the Midwest mods. Yeah. They paid that for 2 classes. So, I mean, you're talking a lot of money they put on the line. They chopped the purse a little bit, but they still lost a lot of money at that show. So the drivers should be thankful. A little bit on the racing side of things, Corey Crapser, former national champ. I think he's got national championships in the WISSOTA Midwest Mods and Street Stocks. He won that deal. So congrats to him. That's a big win for Corey. He's been running a lot of open stuff. Tyler Skauge, he started 31st in the B-Mod feature and drove all the way to the win. 31st. Unbelievable. Insane. And then in the A-Mods, Jake Tim got a flat tire, and he pitted, and he was all the way back in 17th, and he rolled up to 2nd, and he was coming. Like he was hunting right at the end there. So that's a testament that racetrack had to have been amazingly good to race on to pass that many cars. Bert, I know you had a couple things that stuck out to you for Mississippi Thunder too.
Well, I didn't get to watch any of it, but I did notice prior to the racing on Thursday, Dustin Sorensen posted a picture of the car he was racing, and you may be asking yourself, well, what's the big deal about that? But he had a throwback scheme, and I love throwback schemes. Sometimes I wish I was born a little earlier so I could have been watched the old time racing. But he had a throwback scheme to I believe it was his grandfather, and I think that would look really cool as a die-cast. I mean, I could probably find some room to fit one in.
Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like
it. Yeah, you can always get another case. We can make that happen. And it's kind of funny because the announcer a couple times, he like found himself saying Dick Sorensen, right? So instead of saying Dustin Sorensen. So it was kind of a funny deal. But, yeah, that was pretty cool. And, what year you were born before us, Bert? I mean, you start getting born too early. You're going to be way older than us.
71 I was born, so
we got listeners that are older than that. I'm going to be careful.
Bert could be a lot of our listeners' dads.
Right.
They're mainly the ones on the Facebook and podcast. They're for that younger. So.
I'm leaving that one completely alone.
Anything else?
All in all, it was a great show. Bert, did you get a chance to watch any of the racing or highlights down there from Mississippi Thunder?
No, well, I did see some of the highlights. I don't know if it was Mississippi Thunder or somebody else posted some of the modified excitement, and they were racing right up by the wall. I mean, the highlights I saw, they weren't racing down low. They were right up by the wall. And unfortunately, one of the highlights I saw was Dustin Sorensen getting into the wall and damaging his car a little bit.
Them young guns ain't scared. Him and Jake Tim, they are hustling on the high side, and it's either checkers or wreckers for both them guys. They're really fun to watch for sure. So, and then you actually shot us over a message, Bert. Mississippi Thunder's they're planning some big improvements, expanded seating, all kinds of stuff for 2021. So, man, I look at it and I'm like, how can they improve on what they did this year? I mean, they had some amazing stuff. In a year that it was just craziness, everything's canceled, they like upped the bar and they had all kinds of stuff. So they got some big plans moving forward. I'm excited to see what Bob and Tyrone do down there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, do you want me to mention those plans or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I saw it. The article was in Winona, Minnesota newspaper, and they're looking to expand their seating from 1,500 to, I believe it was 7,000. And they're also hoping to bring World of Outlaw late model series to the track. According to the article, Bob Tim has been trying since he bought the track to get the World of Outlaw late model series there. And they were looking at a weekend in early May for next year. I mean, nothing's been settled yet, but they're hoping to bring in the World of Outlaw late models, and also expand they're looking to possibly purchase some land in the area so they can expand their parking area.
Yeah, big.
So yeah, I mean they're a track that they keep upping the bar every year.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say, Casey Schumann, get her done. Get her done. That's a good place. You want to bring the World of Outlaws to the Mississippi Thunder Speedway. So, Puka, what's next, buddy?
All right, World of Outlaws Sprints down in Kansas at Dodge City. A big weekend, Ryan, for Shark Racing.
Yeah, our sprint car expert, Keith, he was in his height of glory because there was two major sprint cars. There was World of Outlaws, plus there was Port Royal. And on the World of Outlaws, Jacob Allen, you can tell he's one of them young guys. He's a flat bill guy. He wears a green, like a fluorescent turquoise racing suit. I mean, I look at that, I'm like, really? I mean, come on. But hey, hats off. He got his first career win. Hoddenchild one day too. Sweet 10 points up on Schuhart. So solid right there. The points battle is still good. 24 cars. Really light. That's a light. That might be the lightest the World of Outlaws were all year. And the reason why is Port Royal. I think it was a Tuscarora or whatever. I don't have it in front of me. Bert might be able to get the name of it, but they had a 53,000 to win show. So a lot of the guys that would normally be at the World of Outlaws, including Kyle Larson, they went that way. And Kyle Larson, out of 3 races, Puka, did you pay any attention to that sprint car stuff at all?
Not that one. I don't think he won any of them.
That's the answer I was looking for. 3 races in a row, Kyle Larson did not win. The first night he went out, he actually rolled over. And the second day he went out, he was leading. Lance DeWeese got by him right at the end of that deal, stole it from him right at the end. And then the third day, I don't know what happened in the heat race, but he had to come from the B main. In fact, he started like 4th or 6th in the B, and he came from the B main up to 3rd. So he had a good run. Lance DeWeese, I think he's Australian, isn't he, Lance DeWeese?
Very well could be. That's that number 1 sport in Australia, sprint car racing.
Yeah. Well, he won not only night 2, but he won the third night, which was 53,000 to win. So that's just more of that planning deal, right? Where if there's a 53,000 to win show and all your top stars want to go race for real money, come on, World Racing Group, come on. Let's ixnay that. Let's not run against that. Let's make the sport what it is. It's been great all year long, and I think that one was a mistake on the World of Outlaw part.
Yeah, we talked earlier in the year about the big car counts they were getting,
right.
back in May and June, and definitely that made. I'm sure there were plenty of World Outlaw guys in the pits, kind of giving it to those at the World Racing Group because how often do you get the race, especially this year for 53,000 to win?
Right, exactly.
All right, well, we'll bring her a little further north up to Grand Forks where we got the 14th annual John Seitz Memorial Race in. They raced Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Guys, I wanted, 50 cars for this. I guess I kind of wanted to start there. What did you guys kind of think of that car count? I mean, well, I'll let you talk and then who wants to start? Bert?
You do. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what are my thoughts. I mean, I guess it's what you'd expect, so to speak. I can't remember exactly what Aberdeen had for a similar purse. I think it was near there. I don't even think they got to 50 though. But no, okay. So, it's what you'd expect, but yet it's still disappointing at the same time. When you're paying that kind of money, again, you hear drivers talk like you're just talking about Mississippi Thunder, or guys, they want to get paid well, and people put in the time, the effort to get the sponsorships and get this kind of $920 to start. Plus you could get up there Thursday and race, kind of do a warm-up race if you're not familiar with the place, for the 900 to win the prelude to the Johnny. And so, 50 is, as a fan and someone who follows the sport, is what I would expect. But I can't help but be just a little bit disappointed that there just weren't, because there were, not so much where we're, over here in northern Minnesota, right? There weren't a lot of cars parked in the garage, but you have to think that in that north, South Dakota, even western Minnesota area, maybe more down towards that Alex Montevideo area, there were a lot of cars sitting in the garage over this weekend.
I was impressed. I thought it was great. They actually had 44 cars at the Rumble in Aberdeen. They had 50 night one for the prelude. I think it was down to 49 because Donnie Schatz was there on day one, and then he left. And I look at it, what I was excited about was how many regions were represented. So you had of course, it's NLRA, that's their home turf, right? So you had the NLRA guys there. You had the winner Turnbull from like way up in Saskatchewan, which, when he races, he has to come over that way. So he runs Winnipeg, he runs Grand Forks once in a while, okay? So you had that area. You had a handful of guys, some of the top guys came from South Dakota, from that region. Then the central Minnesota region, the Fergus Falls guys, the Myers boys, Casey Meyer, friend, great. What do you get, fourth in that deal? That was impressive. So I was really impressed with that. Did he get, so
he was up to third, and then Demo got back around him.
Yeah. So that was a hell of a run for him. So him and Moss and that group from there. Then they had the Menominee Cedar Lake contingent covered, right? Of course, they had Jesse Glens was the main representative from there. They had our region, the Superior, Hibbing, Proctor, Grand Rapids with Provenzino and Massengill and those guys. So when you look at all the different regions that were represented, that's like 6 regions that were represented. That's what I want to see as a fan. I want to see some of the top guys from all these different areas getting together and then competing head on. And that's what I got. Were they all there? No. The Russ Larson Classic was also going on. We'll touch on that next. But that brought some cars over to Superior. So all in all, and if you think about it, they had 50 cars. And we'll get into this in a second, but there's one Canadian. Well, normally they probably have 6, 7, 8 or so Canadians down there. They could have been approaching 60 on that deal pretty easily, if not for COVID, right? And then with the enhanced purse at the Russ Larson, that took away people like John Canta and Pat Dorr, because they were racing for a while. It ended up being 55 or 5,600 or whatever it was to win. It was supposed to be 51.90, and I think somebody added to it. So it was like 56.90, I think, to win that deal in Superior. So that kept some guys over there. So as far as the car counts go, I thought it was great. The one night went long enough, right, with the 3-hour rain delay. It would have been going another hour if they would have had another heat or two.
Bert, what were your thoughts overall of the weekend? Not just car counts, but you can just kind of get us right into the racing.
Well, I saw most of the feature, especially the last few laps of the feature, because I wanted to see how my pick did. I picked AJ Demo entering the race, and the last several laps of that race were very exciting, fun to watch. It would have been in there. Unfortunately, the leaders came up on a car that they were going to be lapping, and if that car wouldn't have been there, I think the finish would have been even more exciting than what it was. I think Demo had something there at the end, but unfortunately, the car was in the lane that he was racing, because everybody else was kind of racing up high, and Demo he had a line at the bottom where he'd go in on the bottom, kind of drift up, and then shoot off the corner. and that was working for him. And he caught him, but couldn't quite get him at the end.
I think he took a nap, because he drove right to the front like that at the beginning of the race. He was from 10th all the way to the lead quickly. I mean, it was impressive. I'm like, oh my God, this is like he's going to kill him. And then all of a sudden he just kind of put it in cruise control. He fell back. It's like he was conserving his stuff, because he's very patient. But I think he hit the gas about 2 laps too late. I think if he would have picked up the pace a little bit before that, that lap car wouldn't have been an issue. So the lap car was there. That was a bad deal. I mean, it sucks when you get into lap traffic. Unfortunately, that's part of it. That probably cost AJ, but I think AJ cost AJ because he was ultra conservative, I think, in my opinion, for too long. And again, I've never lost one of those races before watching it online, ever. So I'm right, for sure.
Well, one thing about AJ is I haven't looked this up, but I mean, it's been bantered about a little bit. His results in this race, I don't think he's finished outside the top 3 he's got a long streak of finishing in the top 3 of this race. So
yeah. The interview after talked about that's what they were talking about. 10 years, every year he's been there, he's been a top 3 competitor. And Stefan did say that to him in the post-race interview. So, it looks like you were saving your stuff. He said, saving nothing. He made it sound like he was going all out, is what he said. He said that's the way the cars were. And I think he must have, I don't know if he changed his lane. After I heard the interview, I should have went back and saw, but he said he wasn't saving anything. He said he was doing everything he can to catch him. But yeah, definitely an interesting streak for Demo.
It's kind of like Days of Thunder. Cole, you're gonna burn your tires off. I ain't going faster. They're just going slower. Maybe that's so. Maybe that's the case there with him. I thought it was pretty interesting to see Donnie Schatz there, especially with 2 World of Outlaws shows going on that weekend. To see him there the first night, that was pretty interesting to see. Lance Schill, a rookie, he stole the win the first night, and then he looked like a fly swatter. Really, the rest of it, like he hit lots of stuff, including Chad Nader. Man, he's had a rough year. I mean, it just never fails. He had engine issues. He's borrowing a car. I mean, all kinds of craziness. And he's ran good at that race. I think Mater maybe won one. Yeah, he's a past champ. But something was happening to him in the heat race. Like something was maybe broke. He picked up a push. The car was just like it went away. There was something clearly wrong. And Schill went and slide job somebody. I'd have to look. And he slide jobbed the guy and just yard sailed Mater. I mean, he just piled into him. I'm like, oh man, Chad, it can't get any worse. So, Chad came up, of course, for the TriStar Late Model Series, TriStar Engines Late Model Series up north, and he had bad luck, and then finally said, "Screw this! I'm going to the lake." I'm sick of it. I'm going to the lake, and he skipped Hibbing, right? So I mean, he's due. He's got to have some good luck come around. But a couple guys I was impressed with. Massengill continues to impress. He got a 4th the first night. He got a 5th the second night. Hard charger the second night. Guys, he came from 23rd to 2nd.
Second, right.
Inside the leader after a restart with a shot to take the lead. And then I saw a picture. I think everybody's tires went away, 92 laps, but he blistered it up, and the bottom kind of went away. He was really good on short runs, and he faded back to 5th. But solid. I mean, there's just another example. 2 more top 5s for the 6M. Cole Searing. We've been talking about him on the show. He was the top South Dakota guy there. He got 7th, a solid run. Never was really in contention to get up in the top 3, but a very solid run for the 10 car. And, just Turnbull. I mean, how the heck? First of all, it's an interesting story how he even got across the border, right? How his car got across. Now, fans, we're not going to get into all the details now. You're going to have to watch the exclusive interview we did with Turnbull, with Turbo there about that, okay? You watch that show because he touches on that, how that all happened, and he's got a quarantine for 14 days when he gets back. There's all kinds of stuff. But what I'm impressed with is this. How many times all year we heard people say, well, I can't go to this race because of this, and I can't go here because of this, and I can't go here. Here you got a guy coming across the border from Canada, sneaking his car in, all this crazy stuff to race. He's looking for a reason to race instead of a reason not to race, and he doubles up 2 years in a row, wins the sites. And what has he got, Puka? How many races does he have in the late model this year?
Look like 5, isn't it?
5. Second,
Yeah.
and a 9,200 to win first place finish. Can you imagine if this guy raced more? I mean,
pretty good.
We might have to slide him up
national champ crown this year.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. We had somebody kind of calling us out on the show or on our power rankings. They're like, well, how about Eddington? Why hasn't he been mentioned? He's won all 4 races up in Canada. And I just kind of brushed it off. I'm like, he's got 4 shows in. I mean, it's all these races, 4 shows. How can we put him in the top 10 in power rankings? He only raced 4 times. Do you know who the first 3 second place finishes for Turbo were to? Eddington.
Well, it's been Eddington.
Yeah. So with that said, I'm telling you, think about this. This brings me back, right? Because back when we were growing up, Puka, we had Tom Nesbitt and Joel Kreiderman. They came down from Canada and won a pile of races, a lot. Both of them, who won a ton of races. And now, of course, Thunder Bay's not really doing much. But now you start looking over towards that area of the Manitoba cars. I mean, look at what Ricky Weiss has done in his career. Shane Eddington, right? Belkin, maybe not quite as dominant as those other guys, but now you got Aaron Turnbull. So it'd be cool to get some of these Canadian guys coming down because evidently there's some really talented race car drivers up there.
Yeah, that's for sure. And how about just Grand Forks itself, just showcasing why they're just one of the best, tracks in all of Wazota. Now, like I said, Ryan, they did run into that snag Friday night, worked their tails off to get the heat races in, amidst the rain.
3-hour rain delay. I mean, and it kind of sucks, because Friday night was good. 3-hour rain delay on Friday night. And hats off to them. They did everything they could to get that show in. But let's face it, I mean, when you have 3 hours of rain, now you got to deal with some track stuff that ain't real good. And you had some guys that, like Dustin Strand, I think he was maybe the loser on that whole deal. He started deep in a tough heat race. And he had he was just behind the 8 ball because of that the whole weekend. If that rain doesn't happen, are we having a different conversation? Is Dustin Strand up in the top 3? It's one of those. If the Queen had balls, she'd be the king. It'd be that kind of deal, right? But the fact is, hats off to them. But 92 laps. Okay, how many times have you seen a 30-lap feature of late models lock down rubber up about halfway through, and then it's just follow the leader? It was amazing side-by-side racing on lap 92.
Yeah, it was.
Right? And there was passing on lap 1, so it's not like they farmed it and everybody just followed the leader for the first 50 laps and then all of a sudden it got good. Heck, Becker struggled, not Becker, definitely not Becker, but Demo came from 10th to the lead right away. So there's passing early, there's passing in the middle of the race with Massengill driving up there, and there was great racing at the end. So that track at the River City Speedway in Grand Forks was A+. I give them an A+ rating. And the modified feature was amazing right before that. So, they did a great job up there. The Sites Memorial, it's been a great show for a long time. This year did not disappoint, for sure.
Yeah, and the South Dakota cars you mentioned. Yeah, so, Searing, pretty good. The other drivers seem to struggle just a little bit. A lot of them in the B features.
Yeah, Becker was – honestly, he ain't been good in 2 months. Somebody said that he crashed his car and has not got back to form since. So maybe he just needs to take another trip over to Wisconsin, throw it up on the jig and say, Jimmy, something's missing here because he ain't been good. He's been like about the 6th, 7th best car in South Dakota for the last 6 weeks. So he's got to be frustrated because and on the first night there, that Prelude deal, I think Morgan Ward made the show and Scott Ward got to watch Morgan Ward in the feature. So Scott didn't do very good either. But like I said, we've been saying this now for a month. The top 2 top 2 drivers in South Dakota right now are both rookies.
All right, then one thing on the heat races, do you think Don Shaw got a little bit of a gift there? What do you think? There was some bending some tin.
Well, I'm going to play the clip. People can look at the clip right now. Take a look. All right. Here, you guys got a chance to see it. And I don't know. I mean, it's one of those deals where it looked to me like there was some contact there. The leader was out front, hammered on racetrack. And it looked to me, you guys have to make your own call on this one, but I don't know. I mean, I think he got a gift, and if he doesn't get that call, does he even make the feature? Because he that's a passing point deal. That put him right up front in the dash, getting that call, getting that win. And then if he doesn't get that call, he's got to start in the back of a B main. It could be a whole different story for Shaw. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Did you see that, Bert?
No, I didn't see the incident.
Okay, so it was that Minsky. I think it would have been a huge win for this Minsky. You know, he would have made the race. He's Grand Forks guy, young guy. You know, I felt terrible. I thought there was a little hometown cook in there. You know, Shaw dumped some money into some of those Chris Steppen events, and I like Chris, you know, and he does a great job. But got to kind of call a spade on that one. Like I said, folks, go ahead and take a look at that one yourself. That was pretty tough to be Minsky on Friday night. That's all I have to say. So, anything else on the sites, guys?
No, hats off, Aaron Turnbull. I guess we're going to find out next year if he can make it 3 in a row.
All right. So another program that we had going over the weekend, the Russ Larson Classic / Northern Nationals, Ganaclaw Speedway down in Superior. You know, kind of an interesting, you know, I touch on this, Ryan, you don't have to touch on it right away, but kind of an interesting format for Wazota with some of that double heat stuff, and just kind of your overall thoughts. I saw a limited amount of racing here down there this weekend.
You know, that was just for the late models. All the other classes had heats and features. The late models, though, they had and I get it, they're trying to do more for the fans, and you know, I'll talk about this in a second, but what they did is they ran double heats, and they had passing points accumulated from both heats, which put them into a dash. And there was 2 dashes. There was 1 through 8 and 9 through 16. And wherever you finished your dash is where you lined up for the A main on Saturday. And it's like, did they get paid for them heats? Did they get paid for that dash? I don't think so. You know, so it seems like there's a lot of racing going on there. And I'm wondering if maybe the late model guys just kind of boycotted that deal in the dash, because there was 0 passes. There was not one person passed a single car in the pole dash for the top 8. Everybody just literally got in line and drove around the track and pulled off. Now, maybe there was a little bit of a deal there saying, heck, we're not even going to wear out our stuff. We got a feature race to do that in. I don't know. But I've always been against that a little bit. But the racing was good. Pat Dorr. I mean, we talked about this guy for basically the end of July, all of August. We're like, what happened to him? He's like off the map. And now it's like he's the hottest late model guy out there. He is peaking again at the right time. 3 Wazota crown jewels in a row, both days of the Labor Day shootout. Now he wins the Russ Larson Classic as well. So the Double One Express is firing on all cylinders.
Well, you notice that he's having his success after we dropped him out of the top 10.
I'm just saying. I mean, we work our magic. We call people out, and then they perform. It's just the way it is. So Pat, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. And you can just go ahead and send a check on over to the One to Go show. Puka can get you that information on Facebook.
Yeah, if I'm a Pat Dorr fan, or if you're Pat Dorr yourself or his wife, I think his name's Nancy, I'd be keeping an eye on our power rankings this week. So Ryan, you had we had talked, we had posted some stuff on the One to Go show Facebook page. Sabraski going for that, what was it, 600th win? 700? 600?
Well, he was at 697 going in.
700th win,
right?
Yeah.
697 going in. And then I looked at the lineups right before the features on Friday, okay? And he was starting front row in the Super. 2 of them he was starting front row, and 1 he started second row. I believe the mod in the Super he was front row. In the B mod, I think he was second row or vice versa, okay? And he's at 697. He was at 37 wins. I shot a message over to Fleischer. I said, man, hey, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but pump it up. And he won 0 features that night. I'm like, this guy's been winning all year. He starts in the front row and 2 of them second row, and he doesn't win any. He got 3 straight seconds. So it's like, I think we jinxed him, right? Oops, we talk too good about them, and they don't perform. So if we talk smack about them, they do perform. See how that works, right? It's kind of that reverse psychology. Then he did win 1 the next day. He won the Super Stocks. I believe, yeah, he won the Super Stocks. No, did he win the mods? I'd have to look. He won the mods or the Supers. Midwest mods. Yeah, Midwest mods, he did not win. I think he won the Supers because Belfi won the mods. So he won the Supers on the second day. Belfi won the mods. He'd been hunting for a win all year long, too. Got a new car, got that thing working. But Sabraski won 1 feature out of 6 tries. It's like, man, I got to quit talking good about this guy. He's going to stop winning. But he is now at, and this is a milestone, he could hit that this weekend at Fergus Falls as he's racing 3 classes again. He's at 38 feature wins on the year, but 698 career feature wins for the 7A. Unbelievable. So he is knocking on the door of a milestone of 700 feature wins here really soon.
And what's his rough age? Is he 40?
Yeah, probably right around there. He's a little younger than us. So, yeah, I'd say he's right around 40.
Yeah, that's pretty damn impressive. Now, of course, it helps when you race a lot of classes, but still. And that was a great race with him and Ashley Anderson in the modified.
Right.
One night, yeah. So
side by side. And Steve Larson, right? It's a Russ Larson Classic. His brother was up in the booth there during the late model feature on Saturday night. They interviewed his brother. I don't recall his name. Maybe Tim?
Brent.
No.
Brent Larson?
No.
Oh, not Brent. Oh, okay.
No, Brent passed away a few years back. So it's the brother that didn't race. Yeah, it's the brother that didn't race. Okay. And he, I think I'm right on that. I'm pretty sure I'm right. But I think it's Tim. And they interviewed him. It was a really cool interview, talking to him up in the, listening to them guys talk to him up in the booth. That was really cool. But a podium finish for Steve. I mean, let's face it. He was good all Labor Day weekend. He should have won in Ashland. He got second the one night in Hibbing. He was fast all weekend. And then he rolled off a third-place finish there at the Russ Larson Classic. So that's really cool to see Steve get a podium finish in that deal.
Yeah, and results I was seeing, I was getting texts, and all of a sudden it seems like he just showed up with about, 10 to go, and he has been a very confident driver. Like I said, he looked good in Ashland. He was very confident in the heat race at the Wazota Classic in Grand Rapids that night. I think, like I said, he started 5th. He passed some good cars. He was in second in about 2-3 laps. Had that really good run to second place on the second night at the Labor Day shootout. So, yeah, like I said, you talk about Pat Dorr peaking at the right time. Steve Larson is another guy that's peaking at the right time.
And I asked him what he has for a car. He goes, I got a 2017 MB. So it's 4 years old on that hot rod. So it's not a brand new car out there either. But, yeah, hats off to him. Now, another interesting thing from the Northern Nationals is there was an incident in the late model feature where coming into 1 and 2, next thing you know, bam, there's Daryl Nelson facing the wrong way. A whole bunch of guys are piled up. And they didn't make a call right away. Okay, and when I initially saw it, I didn't catch it right away. I'm like, well, Daryl don't normally spin out. Did he spin out on that one? Well, they actually went to instant replay.
Ooh.
So XR was there, and they were filming the whole deal, but they actually had the ability to go back, and they did replay, and the officials looked at the replay to make that call. I talked to Joe Staria, and he says, yeah, we used that multiple times throughout the event, and we kind of looked at that. We look at the call, we look at the film to make a call. Could this be the start of something? I mean, the capability is there. You got all these racetracks out there. Puka would love this because we're going to have 12-hour race programs, right? But they got the call right. The important thing is they got the call right, and it really, in this instance, it didn't take any more time because they had a whole melee to kind of clean up, right? So they still had to clean up the mess. It took them absolutely 0 more time because it was instant replay right away. They were looking at it while they're cleaning up mess in 1 and 2. They got the call right. Daryl Nelson got a spot back. I don't remember who the other guy was involved with that. I think it was Devin Van House. Got put to the back on that deal. But, oh, man, this is a slippery slope. I know. I'm all about as a driver, I want him to get the call right. As a fan, I'm like, I don't want to be there for 8 hours. It better not add any more time to the race program. I mean, let's face it, this year more than ever, there's been races on pay-per-view, right, all year long. There's way more than there's ever been before. There's local races, big specials, all that. And it's very easy to have your own computer sitting right there in the booth, right? You have it on. And if the person, whichever company, Dirt Race Central or whoever, is doing a pay-per-view, they have the capability to go back and hit replay, and they can do it 4 or 5 times in a row. So the official can kind of look down at it, take a quick glance at it, and say, okay, I saw what happened here, this guy to the back. Are we going to see more of this?
Bert, it looks like you've got an opinion.
I hope we don't see more of this. I don't want to see more of this. I mean, I agree with you in that you want to get the call right, but there comes a point when you just gotta, you can't always go to the video replay. And where it would be different here compared to like the professional sports is the professional sports, they have cameras on the action, on the action everywhere.
Yeah.
What do you mean compared to a professional sport? Well, okay, I see what you're saying now. Now I got you. Good point. Okay, where instant replay is currently being used. Let me phrase it that way.
I would say you got 0 people kneeling, right? You got 0 people kneeling. This is more professional than all that other crap is right now.
You are correct on that. I apologize. And but for those, they have a camera on all the action all the time. Where with this, you're dependent on where the camera is following the race. I mean, there could be an accident in between the 5th and 6th place car, but if the camera is following the 1st and 2nd place car, you're not going to catch that. So is it fair to use it if the camera is not available for all the incidents?
Yeah, that's a good point. But over the invitational season, over the season, I've seen, and again, it's so easy for us watching it to just hit replay and go, what the hell were they thinking? Because I know how fast things happen out there. And there's been times, even when I was announcing at Ogilvie, where I'm thinking in my mind, Scott Lawrence spun out in 3 and 4. And then I look at the table and I'm like, oh my God, I remember who it was, but somebody just dumped him. I'm like, how did I miss that? Right? And I get it. I don't know. It's kind of one of those deals. I can see both sides of it. I'm a purist, right? But I'm also somebody that wants to get it right. A lot of these drivers are relying on that purse money to keep them going. So if they're getting the wrong call, it's a bad deal. So, I mean, if the tool's there and it can be used, I'm all for it. Use it. If it's going to add way more time to the program, I'm totally against it. But I honestly think we're going to see more of it.
Well, maybe we'll have drivers driving past the flag stand throwing the red beanie flag at the flag man.
There's an idea.
Well, I've seen them throw lots of different things at the flag man, but it hasn't been a beanie. Let's put it that way.
Well, promoters, I have no problem with the replay as soon as you get rid of classes. You got me on replay when you have 3 classes. 3 classes. That's it. Then you got me on the replay. Because like I said, I agree, Ryan. A guy travels, look at, like I said, Mater, travel all the way to Grand Forks for the John Sites. You want the call to be right. Those South Dakota guys, what the wards are from. Are they from Watertown or Huron? All the way? Yeah,
Watertown.
That's a long pull. Trevor Anderson all the way. So, I understand that, but it's all about the time and how much time is it going to take. So, any more on the Northern National / Russ Larson Classic?
No, I think overall it was a good show. There was some great racing, and Pat Dorr, I tell you, he's rolling in that 11.
He's rolling. All right, well, we will get to one of the premier events of the year that happened out in Rossburg, Ohio at Tony Stewart's Eldora Speedway, the Intercontinental Classic, taking place, of course, of the dream. What dream would it have been? The 50th, right? It would have been the 50th.
World 100.
World 100.
Yeah, World 100. Yes, gosh. There's too many races out there. So the World 100 would have been the 50th. Would have been a starting split the pot of what, Bert? Roughly 50?
80-some, wasn't it?
Well, apparently the 80-some was claimed. So, yeah, I don't know, 50,000 or so.
It was about, yeah. So because last year the prize was not claimed, so they said this year they're going to start the pot because they're legendary split the pots out there. We're going to start. It was right around 50. So now we have to wait till next year for a 50,000-ish split the pot and the 50th annual World 100. But we did get some. Oh, go ahead, Bert.
Well, I was just going to say, you want to know the difference between having fans there and not having fans there? The Saturday night 50-50 last year was $83,000 to the winner. This year, the winner got $1,400 and some dollars.
$1,400, yeah. I saw that. So, yeah, and it's Tony Stewart takes all that and donates it. What's he got, what's it called? Tony Stewart's Charities? Or is it's Tony Stewart Foundation. That's what it is. Tony Stewart Foundation, he uses that 50-50 split the pot money. So, anyway, we got racing in Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Bert, you want to start on this one? Kind of just some of your thoughts overall on the weekend?
Sure, I'll start. First, I'll say that watching it on TV is a lot different than actually being there in person. I did miss being there in person. I was regulated to Crystal Light lemonade, and but you know, it is what it is.
How many years in a row had you gone?
Well, I've gone the last 3 or 4, and then prior to that, it was like 5 years that I didn't go. But then prior to that, it was like 5 to 10 years that I had gone. Okay. So all in all, I've seen over 10 World 100s in person. One thing I've noticed watching it on TV, where if I'm sitting in a stand, I can determine what I want to watch. Where watching it on TV, you have to rely on the camera as to what to watch. But you can have a driver charging from the back, but you're not going to know that on TV because they're not going to show that. Where in person, I know there's been plenty of times I've been there. I'd say to my friend, watch so and so, he's really charging to the front right now. And you don't get that on TV. But I mean, I'm still glad to have seen it. Thursday night was not a typical Eldora track. They must have received some rain during the day, because normally the cushion is up near the wall, where on Thursday night the cushion was only about halfway up the track, which really limited the number of lanes that you could race in and the passing. But it was more typical on Friday and Saturday night. One thing I noticed, and it started from the get-go on Thursday, was a lot of blown motors. There's a lot of money in motors lost over the 3 days. That's unfortunate, but Shirley lost one on Thursday right away, and they left right away because I believe they had a backup motor, but they just didn't feel like it was worth it to try to change it and try to qualify. So but overall, I thought it was really good. Shannon Babb had his Team Zero car out, and he looked really well. And I'm sure Ryan's going to talk about Team Zero a little bit here.
Well, if he doesn't, he's going to be called out.
Well, again, right? We call somebody out and they perform. That's just how it works. And I even went on the show on the Facebook page and I put on there, Bloomquist not going to, after the first night, because he was terrible, I'm like, here we go again. Bloomquist is not going to make the feature, right? And boy, did he prove me wrong, because he had last lap pass for second to get into the feature on Friday, made it in. I think he pulled off and he got like 17th or whatever.
Yeah, he changed tires real early and just never really went anywhere.
But he got 7th on the big show. He got 7th on Saturday, started 19th, And so, I mean, he never really contended for the win, so to speak, but he got in, which is a huge improvement of where he was at the beginning of the year. In fact, the Team Zero cars, there was one point in the feature where 5 of them were all in the top 10 at one time. It was Bloomquist, Ferguson, Babb, Ricky Weiss, Dale McDowell. And they were all in the top 5. Ricky Weiss had a shot to win that race. He actually took the lead, and then motor laid down on him. I think that was, according to Jeff, our late model expert, I think he got that engine from Vic Hill. I think that was out of Vic Hill's car, and he ended up hurting that engine. So I don't know what kind of deal they had worked out. Hopefully he doesn't have to pay for that plus his own. That would suck, right? But Team Zero really ran pretty well there. I was actually pretty impressed. Dale McDowell, I don't remember what happened to him, but he was up there battling in the top 5 for a while. And Shannon Babb, I mean, he start 18th and got 2nd? I mean, he was bolted. He won the night before, didn't he? Yeah, he won the second night. So Shannon Babb looked really good in that Team Zero car. So it was, pretty interesting. What it was interesting to me is the big 3, right? Because we already talked about Larson didn't do nothing this weekend. He didn't get a win. But the big 3 in late model racing, Brandon Sheppard, Jimmy Owens, and Overton, out of all 3 of them, they got 3 features in. Overton got 2nd on night 1. And literally none of the other ones there was no top 5s even, right? Sheppard got 7th, 8th, and 10th. Owens 14th, 21st, and 24th. Overton 2nd, 18th, and 12th. Garbage. They were garbage. They were a non-factor the whole time. The Longhorns were on fire. You know, Jeff pointed that out. He said Longhorn won the weekend. You know, highest averaging finish, 7th Thursday, 3rd Friday, and first on Saturday, JD. Didn't we just call him out too? Like, his heading in this deal, and now he's rattled off a couple wins in a couple weeks. Is he back? What do you think?
Well, his first wins. Well, last weekend was his first win since May in the Lucas Oil. You know, he might be back. I mean, obviously a big confidence booster. I mean, he kind of rolled into this win, obviously, after Kyle Strickler led every lap, and then on Saturday night, and then that tire went down, which was, you know, you could see his disappointment, literally, you know, tearing up, and, you know, in the pits saying, you know, we really could have used this 50,000.
Well, here's the deal, right? I mean, if you race long enough, you've had that happen. Okay, but have you had that happen, right? Because most of the time you're racing for like $1,000. If you get a flat tire, it costs you $400 or $500, whatever, right? Or even if you get a flat tire, you get last, you get 100, 150, 200 start to feature. It barely costs you $1,000 most of the time. We're talking $50,000 to win. He got 6th place. Do you know what they paid him for 6th?
Well, before you answer that, I watched the race with my wife. And after that happened, I told her that flat tire is probably about a $20,000 to $30,000 flat tire, because I thought, you know, if 50,000 to win 6, he should get, you know, 10,000 or so. But you're going to tell me that's not the case.
$3,500 for 6. That flat tire was worth $46,500. So if you're a racer and you're watching this, oh yeah, it's racing, it happens. It's happened to me before. No, it has not happened to you before. First of all, you probably never raced for $50,000. Okay. Second of all, you didn't have it won on the last lap where it's over, right? I mean, he basically had it won. It was a done deal. And then to have that tire explode on him on the right rear, he thinks he maybe ran over something on the cushion. That's painful. Right? That's paying $46,500. T-Mac touched on that. He's like, you know, that gets me into Ryan's rant. I think I'll hold off because you guys have some more comments on Eldora here. But we'll talk about that prize money here.
Just go ahead. You're on it. Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan's rant on this whole deal is a purse. T-Mac called him out. He says, you guys got to pay us what we're – the purse sucks, right? He was mad. He's like, the purse is ridiculous. It was – I believe it was $50,000 to win. Wasn't it $20,000 for second? And $10,000 for 10,000 for third, or was it $10,000 for second? I'd have to look back at that. In fact, I might have it here. Bert can maybe look that up.
You go ahead and look that up, and I'll kind of give you some of my.
I got it. I got it right here. Second place, $10,000.
Oh, $10,000. Okay.
$50,000, 10, and that's why T-Mac was pissed. He's like, you know, I can see 20, 25, but this $50,000 to win $10,000 for second. 5,000 for third, then it was 4,000, 3,750. Strickler got 3,500 for 6th place. $1,500 is all it was to start the feature. That's ridiculous. I mean, that's just looking at ratings. Oh man, we're paying $50,000 to win. That's called a Dolly. Tom Nesbitt would call that a Dolly Parton purse. Big on top and little on the bottom, right? That's a Dolly Parton purse. They give all the money to the winner, and you got all them people racing that show that are going, well, that sucks, right? I mean, and I get it. I mean, you go to the fair and you're in the 4-H, they don't give the blue ribbon to 15th. Sorry, it don't happen that way. But the fact, that's a big stretch. Every single race car driver there, except for in this case, Jonathan Davenport, right, today, right? But if Jonathan Davenport got second, he'd be right in this mix. Every one of them would rather see 25,000 to win, and then 20,000 for second, 15,000. You know, they'd rather see that broken down so that money gets spread out. And promoters, most promoters never raced. And I don't know that Tony sets the purse up for this whole deal. But if he does, I mean, evidently he's raced and had a car owner and had too much money his whole life and forgot what it was like to be on a little bit of a budget, right? You know, especially on the local level. These guys do not want that Dolly Parton purse. the people that I've raced with my whole life, they said we don't even look at, most of the time they don't even look at what it pays to win. They look at 5th, they look at 10th, they look at starting, and then they figure out what is the cost to actually attend this event and where do I have to finish to offset that cost to make it worthwhile to be there. And that $1,500 to start deal, you know, and then it went $1,600, $1,700. I mean, it went up right away, but man, that's brutal. Okay, that is absolutely brutal. They can't do that. That is just, and the thing is, it was invite only. I'm guessing they all knew about it before they went. They all wanted to be on the big stage. I get it. Racers got egos, and it's not always about money, but it's always about money, right? I mean, you got to have it. And that leads me to this. You know, you look at the Russ Larson Classic up at the Northern Nationals. Okay, 24 late ones. That's all they had. Okay, they didn't even have I don't think they had a B, right? I think they just all rolled in, or was it right around 24? I think that's what they had. Really low car count. In fact, I'm pretty sure they didn't have a B. Okay, and then you go over to Grand Forks and they got double that. They got 50. Well, why on earth do you got to race all these freaking races and not get paid? So we're talking about the format over there. They race a heat, a dash. How many times are they on the racetrack before they get a paycheck? Right? It's like going to some of these multiple day events, right? And at least Eldora, they paid the $10,000 to win purse on Thursday, $10,000 to win on Friday. At least they paid those days. So kudos to that, because they paid throughout. You went on the racetrack, you got a paycheck, okay? But so many of these specials nowadays, they don't do that. They're like, well, we want to have a 3-day event. I'm going to one this weekend. We'll talk about that in a second. And they got to race a qualifier deal on Thursday. They race a qualifier deal on Friday. And then they don't get paid $1 until the main feature on Saturday. I've been a broke racer the better part of my entire life, and that literally keeps half the field away. Will there be a lot of cars there? Sure, there will. But the fact is, there'd be a lot more cars there if it was a more cost-effective show. And that's where the promoters that have been on a budget and that raced well on a budget that become a promoter, they get it. They get it because they don't nickel and dime yet. All these specials. Oh, you got to pay for parking. You got to pay for this. You got to pay for pit pass. You got to pay for draw fee. You got to pay for all this. But we ain't going to pay you every time you're on the track, right? You're going to pay for every little bit of everything here to actually get in this show. But guess what? We're not paying you till the last race. That's bullshit. Okay, that's what that called. And there's several late model guys that came up and they were happy because over Labor Day weekend, the draw fees, all that stuff went down and we threw extra money at them. They said, we're sick of this whole deal where there's a fee for this and there's a fee for that. And you got to race this race and 20 laps here and 15 laps here. You got all this time. You run all that laps, you're burning up tires, you're burning up fuel, you're putting laps on your engine, you're taking a chance to wreck your car. I get it. It's the entertainment issue. But pay them, right? And that comes into what you said, Puka. You said 6, 7 classes of cars it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous is what it is, okay? And that's why they do that, because they're paying out so many cars that they can't functionally do that. Well, if you limit it to 3 classes, now you can pay them. Now you can do some different things because you can have 2, 3 classes of cars. The Silver 1000 proved it. 2 classes, late models modified, pack the place. They pack it. Biggest show of the year every year is the Silver 1000. They pack the place. It's the most profitable event they have. They pay good throughout. 2 classes of cars. And if they went to 3 classes, would they gain any more fans? Nope. But they'd have to pay less because they'd have to split that money up to more people. So I think that promoters and all that, they really got to look at that because not every driver's got a bankroll where they get to do all this and not have to worry about paying for things, right? And that's a big deal. That's a big pet peeve of mine. So if you hit the racetrack, if it's a qualifying feature, if it's a dash, if it's a feature, you best be cutting somebody a check. They best be getting paid for that deal. If they're not getting paid, don't have it. Don't just go straight from heat to feature, call it a day, because you're killing these drivers when you do that.
Bert, looks like you want to make a comment.
I just wanted to make the comment that I always thought it was strange that before they would pick who would be invited to the stream and now to the Intercontinental, that Jimmy Mars said that he had prior commitments. Well, now based on what you told me about the purse, I understand why he didn't go down there. He can make more money without traveling all that way. He can race at a local show and make more money than what he could make down there. So that makes more sense now.
Yep, Jimmy Mars is a businessman, right? The MB Customs, Mars Race Cars, it's a business. They run. I'm not saying there's not other business guys out there, but most of the guys that are running open late models are race car drivers, right? They get paid to race a car. They don't get paid to understand finances and business decisions. They go race. Jimmy Mars is a businessman, and he looked at the numbers and he said, this financially does not make sense to go to that show for that whole 3-4 days that you got to be there. No, I can go right up the road and I can race for some good money. And let's face it, he got second place. I don't have that in front of me, right? But if it was 5,100 to win, Puka might actually.
I can find that real quick here.
Okay, you can take a look at that. While you're taking a look at that, we'll just hold on there. So financially, it made more sense. I'm really curious. And it cost him what? Like, he drives from Elk Mound, Menominee area up to Superior. It's like 2.5 hours at most with a hauler to get up there, 2.5 hours to get back. He's got sponsors there. His crew can get there. It's way simpler. It was literally a Friday, Saturday deal.
$4,019 for second, $30,000 for third, $2,100 for fourth, $2,000 for fifth. 2019.
So he got four. Yeah, he got 4,000, and he would have had 4,000 for fourth at Eldora, but Eldora was hard on engines, hard on equipment, hammer down, big half mile. So Jimmy Mars made a great financial decision because he would have had to finish fourth in order to make the same paycheck, but he would have cost him a whole lot more.
He would have had 2 more days to make money, but yeah, the point is still valid.
Right, 2 more days to make money, but all them added expenses.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Plus, Sammy made the feature, so that was $500 to start, so $519. So,
right.
If he got it to 17th, it was $800, $900 for 16th, $1,000 for 15th. So that definitely was. Boy, now that you say there are only 24 cars for that deep of a. Our guy Jay Kittner, I didn't see him there. Was he there?
Jay had a wedding. Richie All owns. He's part owner of that whole deal. I don't know how the deal works, but he has some money into the operation. His kid Gene, who used to race, got married on Saturday. Okay. So Jay said, I can't go. Now they're talking. They might go to Fergus this week. I haven't got confirmation that they're going. I don't believe Kyle Peterlin was there. That one surprises me. He went from having a legit chance to win in Rapids on Friday at the Wissota Classic to just not a good Labor Day shootout. Things happened, right? To not even going to the Russ Larson Classic. That surprised me. Now I don't know if his car was damaged. I don't know all the details. I don't know why he didn't go, but I was very surprised not to see the 23 in Superior.
Well, so yeah, and I just want to say, everyone at Gondik, that is a stellar purse, $1,000 for 15th. I mean, hats off to you, because what Ryan was just talking about, this is the opposite of the rant right here, Ryan. They did a fantastic job. So, I guess I just didn't really look at it in this depth, but definitely a spectacular purse. So just in closing on Eldora here a little bit. Now, T-Mac did mention that in his interview, post-race interview, came in second, and he said, the 50-50 person is going to make more than we do out on the track here. Maybe we can make some changes. So
yeah, not this year, but in general, a lot more.
So anything else on that?
I'm just disappointed. I really am a little bit depressed and down that Bert didn't do a Facebook Live making a lemonade for us. I was expecting to see that, but next year he's going to do a Facebook Live from Eldora.
I mark it down. I will do a Facebook Live from Eldora next year.
There you go.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to the races that we got coming up this week. But before we do, we have some quick words from our friends over here at Dirt Track Supply. Trevor, he's our guy. He's your guy. Your one source for all kinds of brands, everything you need when it comes to racing. Willys, AFCO, Weld, Weirs, All-Star, QA1. They've got it all. 605-886-8924. Or you can conveniently shop online, dirttracksupply.com, dirttracksupply.com. .com. All right, we're going to preview some of the racing that's coming up here this weekend. Ryan, why don't we start with you? We know you're going to be in Fergus at the King of the Dirt.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the Wissota 100, but it's going to be the King of the Dirt. It's a Dick Johannick Memorial Invitational there. I think it's 5,087, I believe, to win for the late models. So it's going to be stout 7 classes of cars. It's going to be a long day. They got that crazy format that I'm talking about where they got to race, and get paid on the last day. But they're only running qualifiers. They're not running heats and qualifiers, so it's kind of like running double heats is what it is. But that should be a good show. You know, they typically get a good car going on a regular night. I'm anticipating 250 cars in Fergus Falls.
Are they allowing fans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, full fans. Full.
Okay.
Well, I don't know that it's full, but they have such a big capacity there. They got a big grandstands, so limited to them is more than most tracks can hold when they're full.
Okay. And then also we got the Legendary going on. Bert, any chance you're making the drive over there?
No, I won't be going to the Legendary. I did see on Facebook somebody posted that they've sold over 200 pit stalls for the weekend at the Legendary. Ryan's shaking his head. I don't know what that means.
What, you talking about Nickel and Diamond again? Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Steve Larson about that, and he goes, I should boycott both them shows. Got to pay for pit stalls. He goes, I was going to boycott the Legendary. I wasn't going to go. Then I look online, and they're charging for pit stalls at Fergus, too. He goes, so he's like, whatever. And then he had one of his sponsors says, well, if I pay for the pit stall, we go to Cedar Lake. He goes, yeah. He goes, so he's going to go be in Cedar Lake the next 2 weekends. But, you know, it's pretty cool. They have the pave deals and all that type stuff. But, man, it's just, you know, more money. It's just stupid.
Yeah, it's getting a little crazy.
But
yeah, you're right, Ryan. It's 5,087 to win at Fergus for the late models, 4,087 to win for the mods. And then I guess
no, check this out. What is it to win for the late models at Cedar?
That I don't know. I haven't seen that.
2,500. What is it to win for the street stocks at Fergus? 2,587.
Ouch.
Yeah, super stocks are 35. Yeah, B mods are 3,000. Yeah, 2,587 for the street stock. Oh, so that's all Cedars. So,
but they're paying each night. They're paying each night. They run what they're doing at Cedar Lake is they're running they're like a group time trial deal, okay, and then they're rolling them right into a qualifying feature, straight up from time trials to qualifying features, and they're paying them a little better than what would be a regular night's pay. Okay, so it's a little bit of an enhanced pay on Thursday, a little bit of an enhanced pay on Friday. It's going to line up the inside row, the outside row. That's how you get into the big show for the more enhanced show. Fergus Falls, they're drawing, and then they're going to have a qualifying feature. No heats. Both of them are not having heats. They're just having qualifying features. Weird to me, but I guess it is what it is. I'll let you know what I think when I get back. But they're doing it different, okay? At Fergus, they're having qualifying features day 1, qualifying feature day 2, and they're taking accumulation of passing points to put you into the show. Myself, I hate that. I hate it, right? I like how Cedar's doing it because at Cedar, they have, if you have a bad first night, it's totally unrelated to night 2, and you have a legitimate shot to race your way into a good position on night number 2. At Fergus, if you go out there, you get a flat on night number 1, and you get dead last, guess what? Now, your passing points is 0, basically, from night 1, so you're going to, at best, be starting in the front of a B main on Saturday. So I don't like that whole accumulation deal. I think it sucks. They did the same thing at Eldora. I think it's stupid. I'm all 100% about inside row, outside row, C's, B's, A's, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know. I guess the jury's still out. We'll see how the weekend goes. Dirt Race Central is going to have all the action, I believe, from both. So we'll be able to watch it all on there. And I get to jabber draw. I'll be down in Victory Lane jabber drawing with all the winners of all the different races at Fergus Falls all weekend. So that's going to be pretty cool.
All right. So, yeah, and then just some of the national stuff we're kind of watching here. Fairbury tomorrow night. That's going to be live on Dirt on Dirt.
Yeah, by the time the show's posted, I'll try to get it posted. But Tuesday night is Fairbury, And we'll do what we can to get this posted Tuesday, so it's ahead of the game. Typically, we've been getting the show up Wednesday or so. But yeah, Fairbury, and that should be a good race, $15,000 to win.
Yeah,
And I've been saying I need to get to Fairbury, but I'm going to be in Minnesota, so it ain't going to work.
Getting going, yeah. And then we got the Lucas Oil late models, visiting I-80. We're taking the place of the late model Knoxville Dirt Late Model Nationals. And then where are the Woo Sprints, Ryan?
The Woo Sprints are in Oklahoma and Texas. So they got just 2 shows. It's not like a big weekend show. It's one at each, just a one-night deal. And so what I'm interested in seeing is the Lucas Oil deals at I-80. It's $7,000, $7,000, and $30,000. But buddy Jeff, he shot me over a deal. He said, "Hey, did you see this? It's the Butterball Invitational." I'm like, "Well, you had me at Butterball." I'm like, "Oh, what's this all about, man?" Like, Butterball turkey and dressing from Perkins. That was like my favorite meal after the races, right? But it's in Richmond, Kentucky. They're paying $20,059 to win. Okay. Former winners of that race have been Tyler Carpenter, for example. He's somebody that's won that race. Freddie Carpenter's won that race, and Ricky Weiss and Bloomquist. I'm not sure if they're going to park next to each other, have a sleepover, slumber party, barbecue. I'm not sure, but they're both going to be there. I'm wondering who else is going to be there, because that's a pretty stellar pay. I don't know how deep it pays. I don't have that in front of me, but $20,000 to win at that. So a full weekend. I'm not even sure if that one's being streamed. I tried to find some information on it. It's not on Dirt. So I'm not sure if that Butterball race is being streamed. I sure hope so, because with some good cars, I'd like to be able to watch it. Of course, Lucas Oil, that'll be on Lucas Oil TV. So great weekend of racing. Between the King of Dirt, Cedar Lake, Lucas Oil, the Butterball deal, World of Outlaw Sprints. Just pull up your popcorn and enjoy if you can't make it to one of them tracks.
And buttery popcorn. All right, fellas. Well, we are on the last lap segment where we have one to go. So with the aforementioned Ricky Weiss, Scott Bloomquist, there have been rumors. There's been some fighting. We think we've got some actual news now that sounds like Ricky might have been putting a car in a jig. Sounds like he has ambitions of building a car. Ryan, what can you tell us?
There's
more details do you have?
There's some lover quarrels going on, and I'm getting information from multiple different sources here, right? And it's going to work itself out here in the coming weeks. But there's a lot of he said, she said. Bloomquist, according to Bloomquist, he's like, Ricky's a bad deal. He's doing some things that are unethical, and there's like some things going on there. According to Ricky's camp, Bloomquist has lost his freaking mind. And like they need to go a different direction because Bloomquist just don't have it anymore. There's a mess. But from what I understand, is Ricky Weiss is going to build his own cars for the 2021 season, and it's happened all over dirt late model racing forever. People get in a program, they start building their own thing. We'll see how it goes, but I think we all agree up until Eldora, because they actually ran pretty good in Eldora, but the Team Zero camp just ain't been good. It's been a bad deal, and I kind of figured Ricky would kind of shy away from that deal, but it sounds like there's some. From what I understand is they parted ways. Bloomquist said, "Fine, grab your stuff, get the hell out of my shop, don't come back." And Ricky's like, "Good, I don't want to." It's like not a good deal down there. So there's some disarray down in the Team Zero camp for sure.
I noticed Ricky was not parked anyway. See the Team Zero cars, Bert, in Eldora, they go past the building there and you turn to the right and they're in corner 2. Ricky was parked right by corner 4 on the front street, and he was nowhere near Ferguson, McDowell, Bloomquist. Nowhere near those guys. You could see from all that coverage.
McDowell's shop, you walk out of Bloomquist's shop across the parking lot, and that's a McDowell's shop. They're next to each other. They're right next door. They're next door neighbors. Oh, so yeah. So
really? Okay.
yeah, they're right tight. They're right next to each other. So I'm guessing they'll stay tight. If not, it'll be really unhappy neighborhood, right? So hopefully they stay good. But yeah, it's needless to say, Ricky Weiss out at Team Zero. He's still running his Bloomquist cars. They own all their stuff. He's got some pretty good sponsors helping him out with that deal. But needless to say, that relationship is done.
Okay. All right. You want to touch a little bit on the power rankings?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, but guy that we kind of booted out of the top 10, he's now in the 1 slot, right? Double One Express, Pat Dorr. As you guys seen, we posted them, of course, this morning. Pat Dorr, number 1 in the power rankings. Strand, he still saw. He had a rough weekend, but he didn't. He got third the first night. The rain, I think, killed him in the qualifying deal. Started back of a tough heat. Jesse Glenn's, he's solid. He's up front, and he's coming into back-to-back weekends where he is lightning fast. I mean, all of his wins this year have been at Cedar Lake. So he's at Cedar Lake the next 2 weekends. Watch that 7X car. Massengill, solid now in the top 5 in the power rankings. Just continues to impress and grow and get better. Jimmy Mars, he's right there. And a guy that we didn't even have on our radar until the site, Aaron Turbo. And it's like, man, do we put this guy in the top 10? I mean, of course, he's a top 10 guy, but he's got 5 races in, right? 5. That's it. I don't know if he's going to race again, because he's in Canada. He's on quarantine. I don't think he got any shows, so he's got a second, and first. It's interesting. But we got this weekend's going to be pretty cool because we got Fergus Falls, we got Cedar Lake. The next weekend I think is Cedar Lake and Casino. So there's a couple big shows there, and then of course the Red Clay Classic kind of brings them all together again. So I'm really excited about Invite Time. There's so many good things to happen where we can get a lot of these guys running against each other for sure.
Bert, Packers, Vikings.
Yeah.
You're cutting out, Bert. We can't hear you very good. What's that? No, you're cutting out. You're cutting out really bad. No, you're breaking up.
The Packers beat the Vikings. I did watch the game. Actually, I tuned in 3 minutes into the game because I didn't want to watch any of the stuff ahead of time. I don't watch any of the pregame shows anymore. I just like to watch the game. I mean, and that's really the only game I watched all weekend. I don't have Monday Night Football on as I'm doing this show. So, but yeah, Packers beat the Vikings. Vikings looked pretty bad early on. They scored a bunch of points in the second half. I don't know if that was the old prevent defense that doesn't prevent anything. But it was a good game for the Packers.
Any comments, Ryan? Are we moving on to Blair Northdurft?
We're moving on.
All right. Blair Northdurft, a guy, like I said, the greatest name in racing. He wrapped up the TriStar Late Model Series Championship over the weekend, so we wanted to congratulate him on that. Ryan, Shane Sabraski, do you have any more on him? I know you kind of touched on him earlier.
No, like I said, he's at 698. Looking forward to him hitting a milestone. I believe he's going to run a Midwest Mod again for Randy Loggy this weekend, so he's probably going to have 3 features because the qualifiers don't count. I don't think he's going to count them anyway. They're just qualifiers. So he's going to have 3 shots this weekend to get her done, but it's going to be some stout competition to do it. So we're watching the 7A, and he just made it more difficult to get to 50 because I think he's got about win out now to get to 50 with the, only winning 1 the last weekend. I'm like, come on, Shane, you're killing me. But, it is what it is. He's a hell of a race car driver, hell of a career there.
Bert, update on PRI.
Yeah, before the show, I was looking at Facebook and I saw one of the Eastern Wisconsin late model drivers posted a link on Facebook that PRI 2020 has been canceled because of COVID. So, COVID, another thing canceled because of COVID, in that regards, 2020 can't get over fast enough. And hopefully things change in 2021.
And finally, Ryan, some news out of Petty Enterprises.
Well, we talked about Ricky Weiss and Bloomquist kind of ixnaying that deal. I don't know all the details on this, but Bubba Wallace is out at the end of the year. He's no longer going to drive for Petty. Rumor has it the next drivers are either going to be Mike Wallace or Kyle Larson. I'm not really sure if that's true, but needless to say, Bubba Wallace is out. He's not racing for Petty anymore. So interesting developments there. But it'll be fun to see who they put in there for sure.
All righty. Well, I think that's about a wrap. Again, we just want to make sure we thank our sponsors, Where's the Machine, where'smachine.com, Dirt Track Supply, dirttracksupply.com, also home of Aero Chassis. Is that it then, fellas?
Yeah, Go ahead, Bert. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add one thing. Puka, you asked me if I was going to the Legendary this weekend. Saturday, right now, my plans are I plan on going to Outagamie Speedway in Seymour, Wisconsin. They have their fall special, and the Dirt Kings late models will be racing as part of that special. So looking forward to seeing some dirt late model racing this weekend. It's supposed to be a little cool. The only thing I'm not looking forward to about that show is 7 classes besides the late models.
Well, there's 10 at Cedar Lake and there's 7 at Fergus. So I hear you. Puka, are you going anywhere this week?
I don't think so. Like I said, I was going to go to Superior last weekend, but the temps just it ended up being okay, because I guess there wasn't a lot of wind off the lake, but I ended up just sticking around. So at this point, there's no, there's always an outside chance.
Saturday.
Actually, there's one race that nobody knows about, the prelude to the Stampede in Bemidji, a Sunday. They're having a prelude to the Stampede, so that's probably got the best chance. Just an hour down the road, I could go for some chicken. And I heard there's shrimp at the Chicken Shack now too. So
wow,
yeah. So I was talking to a guy today. So I've been wanting to get over there this year. So really, if the weather is pretty nice, there's a chance that last week and also yesterday I ended up going to the Enduro in Grand Rapids. That was kind of my racing fix. Brought the kids. I'll tell you what, saw more young people than I've seen at the races. Just every time I go to an Enduro, there's kids everywhere. Everyone's smiling. Everyone's having a great time. And a great crowd. We didn't even stay for the whole thing. Got a little late, but
102 cars.
Yeah, 102 cars. It was good.
Unbelievable, profitable, just crazy good. And so I was gonna say, you ain't been to Fergus, right?
Never. No, never.
So here's the deal. I'm taking the camper down. There's an extra bed. Bolt on down there on Saturday. It's supposed to be like 70s. Come down. It's only features. There's B-mains and features. You ain't got a full day of events. It ain't going to be crazy. But come on down to Fergus. You can always hit Bemidji on the way home, right? You can always go that way. And, of course, I'm going to be at Fergus Falls. I'll be watching the racing there, catching the action. You never know. Maybe if you go to Bemidji, I might hook up with you on the way back. Maybe we'll stop in and harass the folks over there. Maybe go over to the Chicken Shack. That's a fun place to be. Pretty good culture. And one more happy birthday there to our late model expert, Jeff. He keeps reminding me that he is 1 year younger than me, but he helps us out a bunch with the show. So happy birthday to him. And that's all we got. Great week of racing. Looking forward to another one this week. Great show, guys.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Happy birthday, Jeff. Get out there and be your dream. You're tuned to the One to Go show.